Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be doing another Star Wars Legion breakdown. Today it's going to be Luke Skywalker in by popular demand. We're going to be covering both the Commander and the Operative versions of Luke Skywalker. He is the hero of the rebellion. He is the probably the most iconic good character in all of Star Wars, possibly the most iconic character in all of Star Wars, period. Certainly one of my favorites and a real joy to get on the table. When Yoda is gone, the last of the Jedi Luke will be, except for the literally dozens of other Jedi that happen to also exist. So kind of interesting that, he's really the last, or is he? Luke comes in a number of different versions, so we're going to talk about Commander and Operative and some of the differences between them. We'll also be talking about the command, their command cards, as well as some different ways that you might gear them out and other units that they happen to pair well with. If you guys are new here to the channel, I talk a lot about Star Wars Legion and other Star Wars tabletop games. We're still doing 12 Days of Life Day. We'll have a winner to announce at the end of this video as well, so that's very cool stuff. So make sure you are watching all the way to the end. I also want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens, folks. These are awesome tokens. These are great, make for great holiday gifts, stocking stuffers. They work perfectly for that. Definitely get your orders in now. Use code Crabbok VIP to save 15%. Folks, these are amazing full metal tokens, and look, they're double-sided, they're heavy, they're shiny, they're gorgeous, they glitter, they're absolutely wonderful. You're going to get a free Crabbok token with the lightsaber nunchucks on there if you spend $35 or more and use code Crabbok VIP as well. So again, use that code because it's going to save you 15%. It's also going to get you a free token. So very cool stuff. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check them out. All right, so let's start off talking about the two different versions. We've got Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight. This is the operative version. This is the newer and probably more popular version of Luke. He is upgraded from Commander Luke. Commander Luke is, this is the original version of Luke Skywalker. While the points have changed, not much else has changed on these cards from their original printing version to the latest errata. The only main difference outside of the points is the fact that deflect itself has been changed. Luke Skywalker, Hero of the Rebellion, is the classic commander, the first commander for the Rebels. He came with the core set. He is a commander. He's got 6 health, 3 courage. He's got a red defense die, no defensive surge, but it does have surge to crit offensively, which is pretty nice. He's going to come with 2 force abilities, but does not have master of the force, so you're not going to be able to ready those automatically. It also doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to help him recover, so force choices for him are going to be a little trickier. He also comes with the equipment option. He has the stereotypical Jedi tool set in that he's immune to pierce. He's got deflect. He has jump 1. Not all Jedi do, but many do. And he has charge. So having some type of free attack after a move is definitely an important thing. Now, he comes with Anakin's lightsaber, which is going to be 6 black die with impact 2, pierce 2, and he also uses a pistol because this is kind of like Empire Strikes Back era Luke Skywalker. Still kind of relies on that blaster a little more than maybe a true Jedi should, but his training is not complete at this point. But it's a good blaster. It's 2 red with pierce 2 at range 1 to 2. It's a very solid blaster. And that means that he usually doesn't have to take things like saber throw because he's already got a built-in ranged attack. Now, if we upgrade a little bit to Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, he is going to have still jump 1, charge, and deflect, and immunity to pierce. But he's going to gain a couple of other things. He gains master of the force, which means now he can, he has 3 force upgrades. One of them can, get readied automatically. He also has disengage. So when he's engaged, he can still perform moves as long as he's only engaged with 1 unit. This is great for objective play. This is great for basically stopping him from being tied up. It means he doesn't necessarily have to have force push quite as much, although it is still good on him. And we'll talk about those upgrades a little bit more later on. But it gives him some flexibility, and it's a very good thing. He has higher health. He's got 7 health, 4 courage. Still has that offensive surge to critical, again, speed 2, 3 force upgrades, 1 training. He is an operative, which means you will still have to have a commander. But both of these guys can use each other's command cards too, which is very cool. So again, with each version of Luke having 3, you are actually able to run all 6 command cards with either version of Luke. Another really important change is the lightsaber. This is his new lightsaber. It's Luke's lightsaber. This is a 7 dice lightsaber. He's got 7 black dice, which is a big deal, especially because things like saber throw use half of your dice pool, and so you are able to, and it's rounded up, so you're able to actually throw 4 dice with that, which is pretty cool. It's still impact 2, pierce 2, and it doesn't have the red dice that some other Jedi tend to have, but if you figure that, well, Luke happens to have surge to crit built in, that kind of helps make up for it and makes it a very strong weapon. So between this version and our Commander version, you know, there also is another version of Luke. There's some different like miniature versions. These are the only 2 gameplay versions, but we've also seen like a Hoth version of Luke that was a limited release, as well as an alternate Jedi Luke from the Emperor's Throne Room for that from that recent convention exclusive. So like there are other model versions, but the cards are mechanically the same as these for the core set and then the operative expansion. So those are your 2 versions of Luke Skywalker that currently exist in Star Wars Legion. Now, I want to talk about command cards. First, I'm going to start with Commander Luke's original command cards. You start with Return of the Jedi, his 3 pip. This one's going to issue an order to Luke Skywalker and 2 units. When Luke is issued an order, he gains a dodge token, and when he activates, each friendly trooper at range 1 of 3 of him may remove a suppression token. So this is a pretty decent card. It's not super clutch. You know, removing 1 suppression is certainly nice. It's a good thing to be able to do. It's not like a game-breaking card. The best thing about this card, in my opinion, is that it's giving Luke a dodge token when he's issued the order. This is great for his survivability and deflect. And it's situationally good for units that that need to make sure they get both of their actions. And that's an important thing for, you know, not losing a movement or not losing the ability to claim an objective or something like that. But I think the bigger part of this is giving Luke a dodge token before anybody activates and before anybody's shooting at him. And that's one of the reasons I usually use it. But it's not the strongest card, so if you have to drop one of Luke's cards, this is one you might consider dropping, but it's still a good card as a solid inclusion in Luke's toolkit. Next up is My Ally is the Force. This one kind of does what that other one did, but a little bit better. It's a 2 pip, issues an order to 2 different units. This one is a very good card because it's when a friendly trooper is issued an order token, it gains a dodge token. It's also not required to go strictly to Luke, so you have some different options here as well. So you can use this to support some of those rebel troopers that might want dodge tokens with Nimble and things like that. It also means that this is also a great team up for Luke and Ahsoka or any future Jedi Knights that also happen to need dodge tokens to power their deflection abilities. It also, again, is when they're issued an order. So I like this one a little bit better than the 3 pip because it's a little more flexible. It can work in multiple situations. It works if Luke is safe and he's just trying to get orders and get tokens out to those other units. But it is restricted to troopers, so you won't be able to use this to necessarily issue snow speeders and stuff orders. And then 1 pip, his Son of Skywalker 1 pip. This is an incredible card, and this is, if you can only take 1 Luke Skywalker card, this is usually the one you take. It's a 1 pip, and only issues an order to Luke, and it says after he performs his first attack, he may perform a free attack, even if he's already performed an attack action during his activation. So this is one of the, basically, in short, it allows Luke to attack twice. There's a lot of different cool things you can do with this. It can certainly work with charge, but this is a way to go after somebody like Darth Vader or another really a major commander or somebody that's kind of hard to kill and make sure you're attacking twice. There are some slight technicalities with this, so you're not going to be able to attack and then move and then charge into somebody else and attack them again. So it's got a few limitations, so it's not super flexible. But this is meant to be that really big attack that lets you go in and finish an enemy unit, and in most cases take somebody down from full health to 0. That's what this one really does. It is kind of Luke tapping into the dark side a little bit, but kind of showing off him at his I think maybe this is more representative, instead of Return of the Jedi Luke, I think this is more representative of Mandalorian Season 2. finale version of Jedi Luke Skywalker. So really cool card here. Then we have the 3 command cards that came with Operative Luke. And again, these are usable in any version of Luke Skywalker, so you can use them all together or you can pick and choose. So this 3-pip is called I Am a Jedi. This is a situational card. It is sometimes amazing and sometimes not that great, but like when the times when you really need it, it can be absolutely amazing. So it's a 3-pip. It only issues an order to Luke, so you're already kind of down on order issuing. It says he gains surge for surge for defense, which is good. He just has that for this whole activation, but he cannot perform attacks. So again, pretty bad thing, right? But it says when he is issued an order, he may choose up to 2 enemy trooper units at range 1. Those units cannot perform attacks. So the idea here is that if Luke is going up against Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, he's just like, hey, I'm not going to be able to attack this turn, and I'm going to screw up my abilities to be able to do nasty stuff. But at the same time, neither can you. And not only can't, but you and this other unit can't. So the ability to deny 2 units from being able to attack is situationally incredible. However, sometimes you might not find yourself in a situation because they have to be at range 1 of Luke. So you might not find yourself in a situation where there's 2 units that both have deadly attacks, that both really want to attack, and they both happen to be at range 1. And by the way, when he's issued an order, he's going to choose that. Are they going to, like, if you know that this card is, if you know you're going up against Luke and he moves up against like your Emperor and Palpatine and Vader, or Dooku and Maul, or any like 2 really strong units, are you gonna stop them from doing that? I think this is also really good against like Death Troopers and things like that, or Dark Troopers rather, or either one. So like it can really stop a lot of firepower, but the game isn't just about killing, though, because those units can still move and they can still do other things. Like if it's a Palpatine, he can still pulling the strings on somebody else, So it's super cool, and it gives Luke survivability because he'll have that permanent surge not permanent, but for the whole round, he'll have that surge to block. So you can attack him, and he's going to be highly defensible, being immune to pierce, having red defense die, and surge to block for the whole turn. But if you don't have the right setup, it might not be as crucial. But when it does work, it's really nasty. Next up is a 2-pip called Full of Surprises. This is also one of Luke's best cards. It's a defensive card, but it can do some really interesting things. It's also only issuing Luke an order. Again, with a lot of these, you are suffering a little bit of order control problems. It says Luke gains a dodge token. Another card that gives him a dodge token before anybody else can attack. Again, there are quite a few that do this. That's another reason why that initial 3-pip is not really super great. While defending, he rolls a number of additional white dice equal to his courage value minus the number of suppression tokens he has. So this is incredible for deflect. Basically, he starts off with a dodge token. This is when he's going to get attacked. This is when he's moving in to try to get within charge range of the enemy forces, and he's left sort of out in the open. What you can do with this is you can actually roll way more defense dice than you're actually being attacked for. Your first attack, you'll probably roll 4 extra white dice, and then depending on how many more times you'll roll less and less each time. So each suppression you have, you're going to roll 1 less. But yeah, it's really incredible that you can potentially deflect more damage back at your opponent than they actually hit on you. So somebody might shoot you for only 1, and like a sniper or something like that, and then you roll your 1 red, but you roll 4 white, and all of a sudden, if you got like 2 or 3 surge in there, you've got the dodge token. So you can potentially do a really nasty deflect back at somebody. So again, that's kind of the whole Full of Surprises. Nobody expected you to deflect more damage back than was even shot at you. So it's nasty, and it helps keep Luke alive. It has saved many Lukes on my tabletops from death before. Very cool card. And then his new 1-pip that came with Operative Luke is you serve your master well. Luke Skywalker gains a free action of choose a friendly non-operative non-commander trooper at range 1, or a suppressed enemy non-commander non-operative trooper at range 1. So perform a free move or attack action with that unit. If it's an enemy unit, it can attack and start a melee with other units. So this is really something. So it's kind of like, on the first part of it, it can be like Luke doing pulling the strings, right, on his own unit. He can just make somebody else attack, which is great, especially if you got a big nasty attacking unit that's out there. But they have to be a trooper unit, which can work on creature troopers, by the way. So you can maybe get like a Tauntauns to do like an extra move attack, something like that. But the real cool, fun, interesting part of this is to do an enemy unit. Again, it can't work on basically a named character. They can't be a commander or operative. But this could work on unique units that happen to be like named special forces unit, like a Clan Ran or Inferno Squad or something like that. You can kind of do this on those, but they have to be suppressed, which sort of limits it. But again, there's force upgrades you can take for that. But yeah, they're going to be treated as your unit during the whole time that they're doing this, so you can actually move in. They'll start a melee with another unit. Now, as soon as you're done, once your Luke turn ends, then that unit immediately reverts back to being friendly, and then they're no longer locked, engaged. So you're not going to like tie up two enemy units and they're stuck, tied up for the whole rest of the game. No, it's only for the rest of this activation. But yeah, you can do nasty things with this, and it's pretty cool. Like I love to do this on like snow troopers or whatever. Move or attack action, so they move. They get to still do all the other stuff that comes with that. It's beautiful. So when this one works, it works really, really well. It can be very fun to make it work. But usually you have to take something to make sure that you have the ability to make sure that they're going to be they are suppressed. So I usually like to take Jedi Mind Trick with this because of that. Because then I can usually make sure that they're suppressed. All right, so for Commander Luke Skywalker, speaking of Jedi Mind Trick, that's something I might put on him. He has only 2 Force upgrades, doesn't have Master of the Force, so it's kind of tricky on how you might, if you're running Commander Luke, whether it's for like Echo-based defenders, or you're just trying to go a little old school. Because usually people run Jedi Luke, but if you're running a battle force that Jedi Luke doesn't work in, then you might want to consider Force Push, because it's just a great card. Even though you might only be able to use it once, Luke might want to recover at least once during the game, though. Force Reflex is also a great option. It gives you that dodge token, allows you to use Deflect, can keep you alive a little bit longer. Certainly a great option. Jedi Mind Trick, if you're running all of the command cards, then you'll probably want to have a Jedi Mind Trick on him. If you're not, if you're mixing up the command cards a little bit, then maybe you leave that. You serve your master well off. It kind of depends. Battle Meditation is another pretty interesting one. A lot of those cards that are Luke Skywalker only, if you for some reason you don't want to issue Luke an order, you can issue one of those orders anywhere else. This is it's an interesting card that can work. It can do surprising things. It also can get around certain objectives or conditions that might say like, hey, your commander, your range is reduced. Well, Battle Meditation still lets you issue one anywhere. So that's kind of cool. And then Burst of Speed is a possible option. I like Battle Meditation and Burst of Speed because they don't suffer from Luke not having Master of the Force. So those are some things you might want to consider. Burst of Speed's not super great on Luke, but it's not bad either. The idea is he's already Speed 2, so he doesn't benefit as much from being able to go Speed 3, but at the same time, it'd still be a little unexpected, and the thing is he won't, the immobilize that he gets will only slow him down to Speed 1, so he'll still be able to move the next turn, and that's kind of one of the key differences when you do Burst of Speed on a Speed 2 unit. It's something to think about, but I think Force Push and Force Reflexes are both probably better options. But Mind Trick is situational. Depending on the command cards you're running, Battle Meditation and Burst of Speed are options to consider. For his equipment, I think there's a couple of decent options. Emergency Stims is a really cool one to help him stay alive, especially if it's like round 6 and he's low, but you still got to charge him in there and go after that other. It's like almost 2 extra hit points depending on how you use it. Prepared Supplies is another excellent option because it's going to have that dodge token that you can always just have in your back pocket whenever you need it. And sometimes it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. If points is an issue and you're looking to get Luke into the action a little bit quicker, Commander Luke here, you can go with Recon Intel also as a cheaper option if points become an issue. Now, if you're running Jedi Luke, the Force abilities might change a little bit, but because you have Master of the Force, I feel like there's a little bit less of flexibility. You're going to want Force Push. You're going to want Force Reflexes, one of those two, maybe both. Saber Throw is a lot better option on this Luke, but he does not have Steady or Relentless, so if you're going to do a ranged attack, it has to be a dedicated action, which is still not a terrible idea, especially if there's like a snow speeder or something that's immune to range 1 weapons. Now at least you have a range 2 attack. You can throw your saber. And saber throw is actually pretty cool on this one because, again, it's going to be 4 black dice. You're still going to have impact 2, pierce 2. You're still going to have surge to crit. Sometimes it's nice having that range 2 attack. I think you might want to consider saber throw with this Luke. Burst of speed is probably better on operative Luke than on commander Luke. Again, not as crucial, but is as aggressive as Jedi Luke is and as deadly as he is. Being able to make sure you don't miss that charge move can be absolutely clutch, especially if you're playing like Son of Skywalker and you're just a little too far. Like to be able to do 2 speed 3 moves and end up engaged with Darth Vader with that charge attack and then being able to attack twice. Boom, boom, dash across the field, free attack, second free attack. So 2 moves, 2 attacks. It can be crazy. It can be very, very deadly. I think Burst of Speed is a decent option, but not mandatory. Onto his training. Training is where it gets really tricky. You've only got the 1 training slot, but this is something new that this version of Luke didn't have. I think the best option overall is Tenacity. 9 times out of 10, that's what I take. It gives him an extra red die if he's injured. He's got 7 health, but people are going to try to kill Luke. If they don't try to kill Luke, then hey, that's even better. It's not even something you want to complain about. But if they are trying to kill him, he'll have at least 1 wound on him usually. That's going to give him an extra red die. That brings him up to a grand total of 8 dice on that lightsaber. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's sick, nasty, and beautiful, and it's makes me want to sing Journey or whatever else makes me happy because it's that beautiful. But there are some other options. I'll talk about them if you don't want to use Tenacity for whatever reason, although you'll probably use Tenacity. Defensive Stance could be an option if you're playing a very defensive version of Jedi Luke and you're going to be taking dodge actions. You can get 2 dodge tokens for a single action. That way, you won't be able to use aims, but it's something you could consider. Of course, you could always flip the stance to offensive stance. Offensive push, if you're interested in aims, maybe take a free aim with offensive push, because something you can do once in a while. Up close and personal, if you're going to be doing lightsaber throw a lot, if you're doing saber throw a lot, up close and personal can get you a free dodge, maybe. Into the fray, if you're going to be up and close, you're going maybe you're not going to be having as many dodge tokens, and if you're going to be in melee a lot, the surge token would serve you just as well as a dodge would because, again, deflect got changed. So there are some different options you can go with, but still, overall, I feel like Tenacity is definitely the choice there. But there's some other options. All right, and I also want to talk about some units I think Luke is going to pair well with. Okay, as a whole, he is a melee infiltrator. He's kind of plays the assassin role. He's going to go in. He's going to kill stuff. He's going to just cut things in half. And he works well with, just being like that spearhead for a big rebel, kind of diverse sort of rebel list. It's going to be a lot of firepower. That's going to be attacking from range, but he's going to be the person that tries to get in either behind enemy lines or leads the charge. So, he kind of works well in a diverse sort of list. As far as specific people to pair him with, I like pairing him with Lando. Because Lando has contingencies that gives you lots of options for command cards. Again, especially with some of Luke's being very situational, you're going to have Lando's cards all in the contingencies, and you're going to have Luke's all in your hand. And so now you have an option for every kind of pip. Oh, you know what? Oh, you serve your master well is just not going to work in this case. No problem. I got answers for that. So I think Lando really plays well into the whole 6 command card thing for Luke because it allows you 9 command cards and gives you much better situational options, especially since so many of Luke's are very situational. A rebel officer, if you're looking for just a cheap commander to go along with an operative Luke, that is definitely an option. R2-D2. R2-D2 is he's cheap. He's counterpart. It's thematic to bring him, This is also not as, mechanically thematic. I didn't include Chewbacca's picture here, but I want to mention that Chewbacca could be an option, although it gets kind of muddy, because then if you bring Chewbacca, you probably want to bring Han Solo also, and then you have lots of command cards and not as many options. But Chewie does have a command card that pairs with Luke that allows them to kind of both activate back to back. So that can be a thing, although it's not really the best pairing, but it is something to think about, especially if we get new versions of Chewbacca at some point. That might become a thing in the future. And so when I revisit, a video like this in the future, if we have, updates on Chewbacca, then we'll come back to that. But I put R2-D2 in here because I think the thematic pairing is a little bit better, and also because if R2-D2 is going on his secret mission and he's doing the inconspicuous thing, and he's the thing where they can't attack him unless they get close, he makes an excellent escort for R2-D2, because you can take this melee powerhouse, and anybody who tries to get really close to R2-D2, they then would have to get close to Luke. And he makes an excellent bodyguard for taking R2-D2 in for secret mission. It's a cool kind of combo. So this way, if they stay away from Luke, they're also staying away from R2-D2, and there's your extra victory point, which might win you the game. So that's a pretty cool option. X-34 Landspeeder is a really great option for either version of Luke, because it's a light transport open. Light Transport 1 open is this weird thing where it can't transport a whole unit, but it can transport a single small miniature, and it's a great way to get Luke into the fight, and I love that. Well, a lot of times the X-34 will transport R2-D2 instead, but if you're not running R2-D2, Luke makes for a great passenger in that land speeder. I also like him with Rebel veterans, specifically the Mark II medium blaster, because if you're doing ranged attacks, this one might be a little bit better for Commander Luke, but still, really good for either option. Being able to do fire support into a ranged attack that has multiple points of pierce is really cool. Really cool. So again, Luke shooting with that DL-44 with a 2 red pierce with Surge to crit, and then you toss in some fire support is really nice to add like 4 extra dice to that. Or Luke doing a saber throw, really, really nice to be able to just take a Pierce 2 attack and turn it into a 6 die attack. Very nice, especially if you're shooting into somebody who has cover. All of a sudden now you can really do a lot of damage to them. And then also like pairing Luke with other Jedi. I used to pair him with Sabine, but since Ahsoka came out, I think she's possibly a better option, especially with cards like that 2-pip that's giving out a dodge token to both people. I think it's a kind of a cool pairing. It's a fun kind of a fantasy pairing too, to have his dad's apprentice and his dad's son. Anakin's apprentice and Anakin's son together in a list. I think that can be cool, but it can get pricey. So if you're doing that, hopefully you have lots of other cheap units. And the Rebels do have a lot of cheap options to kind of fill out a list. So you can oftentimes manage to run 2 expensive units and then still have enough activations for a quite healthy list. That is going to do it about do it for this particular video. But we do have one more thing. We're going to talk about our Life Day winner. So today's winner is going to get a luxury playstyle Crabbok token. So you're going to get one of these, and if you've already ordered, if you've used that code Crabbok VIP, if you're a luxury playstyle customer already, you may already have one of these. The cool thing about these is having multiples is cool, because you can use this for a lot of different games. You can use this for marking a commander in Star Wars Legion, marking critical hits in X-Wing. You can count damage. Your damage tokens, because it's got 5 on the back, or you can use it as light side versus dark side. You can use these for bounty or secret mission tokens if you want to do that as well. But I like having multiples of these, and so you're going to get one of those. So if you've already ordered and you have one, congratulations, you're going to have a second one. So today's winner for our Life Day giveaway is going to be Mikelelcano6964. Sorry if I said that wrong. Congratulations. Thank you for being a subscriber and leaving a comment on a video. That's all it takes to enter to win these. Just go ahead and shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com, and I'll get your contact information. We'll get you squared away. Make sure you also let me know what you've won. That is a helpful thing as I'm going through emails, so I don't end up sending you the wrong gift. Anybody else that's interested, there's plenty of time left to enter to win lots more of those giveaways. Just be a subscriber and leave a comment, and it's as simple as that. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Also, check the links in the description below. You can check out our Discord and other social media links, and that is going to do it. I want to thank you all so much. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world. Thank you so much for your continued support. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. So say we all. The spice must flow. Always wash your socks.